Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Motormouth Broadcasting. And welcome into the Full Throttle Nation Ultimate GT Championship brought to you by the Roasted Record. We're in tonight for the penultimate round of Season 4 as we go racing at, well, the second of three crown jewels to end out this championship this season, Daytona International Speedway. Hamish Brunner here with you alongside Jim Cunningham as always. And Jim, well, we're nearly at the end of the season and we're ending it with the two tracks that would start an IMSA season, ironically enough. Daytona and next week at Sebring will be the final round for 90 minutes. But we got to get through Daytona first of all, Jim. And it's exciting whenever we get to come to Daytona, of course. I mean, it's one of the homes of sports car racing. I would argue the two tracks you think of when you think of sports car racing worldwide, Jim, would be Le Mans and Daytona. And there's a reason for it. It creates spectacular racing, and it's always an exciting time when we get to come here.
Yeah, I agree. Good to be here with you, of course, as always. Yeah, I agree. I think, and I have to say, I think it's kind of cool that we're doing you could easily argue, the three crown jewels of endurance racing in the United States, all back to back at the end of the season, with Road America last week, and then Daytona and Sebring coming up. It's kind of different, to be honest with you. It's nice not to start off every season with Daytona. You know what I mean? It's cool to do something a little different. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. And obviously, this place produces great racing, and we've got we're right down here at the end of the championship battle. Some battles are still going on. Some are kind of settling out, and I think potentially the GT4 is maybe wrapped up already. There was a question last week as to whether there were double points for the final event, and I think we clarified that there were not. So that should leave us pretty much with the GT4 championship wrapped up, with Cole Malley taking that. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for Daytona and then Sebring next week. And of course, we just had the real 24 hours, the 12 hours of Sebring last week. And this is the iRacing weekend that the iRacing 12 hours will happen. So by the time we get to Sebring next week, everybody should have plenty of laps around Sebring.
Yeah, I would think so, Jim, and I would hope so as well.
Yes.
They would have plenty of laps around Sebring by next week. But of course, for those championships you mentioned, Jim, GT4 has been wrapped up. We confirmed with Jed last week there's no double points. So Cole Malley is the GT4 champion. And if he didn't race this week and next week, he would win it by 2 points. For the GT3 Pro Championship, it can be locked out tonight. All that Ricardo Delgado has to do is finish within. I believe the current difference between them is 259 points. So he just has to finish within 109 points of Justin Bock, and he will win the championship. And with only 7 pro cars in the field tonight, that is going to happen. All Ricardo has to do is complete a single lap, and he will be the GT3 Pro Champion for Season 1 of 2026 for the Ultimate GT Championship. To the Pro-Am class as well, although quickly for the pro class, actually, I should say, Nathan Biggett is just starting to sneak up on Bock, as is Scott Patrone. So that battle is still alive, Jim, for P2 in the championship. So Bock still has work to do, but the championship is probably out of his grasp at this stage, I would argue. Mathematically, it can happen, but as I said, if Ricardo completes a lap of the race tonight, he will be the champion. To Pro-Am class we go now as well. And for Michael Caffery, well, he currently sits at a much shorter 161 points ahead of Harrison Holiday. So if he outscores Harrison Holiday tonight, or he finishes within 9 points of him, he will also lock out the Pro-Am Championship as well this evening, Jim. There is a rolling trend of tonight's race, and that is that 2 championships can be locked out just by 2 drivers either completing a solitary lap or finishing within a certain amount of points as P2 in the championship. P2 in the title race, though, for Pro-Am is still alive, with Steiner and Holiday battling that out. Lance Campbell's probably a little bit too far behind in P4 to really challenge for P2 in the championship, or P3, being that he is just around about 100 points away from P3 at this stage. To the amateur class, well, Jed Cotterman, it's been his show this season, Jim, and he currently sits at 200 and 285 points adrift of James Leneven. So once again, that championship more than likely is going to be wrapped up tonight. All Jed has to do is complete a solitary lap, and he will be the GT3 AM champion for season 1 of 2026. So we have an opportunity, Jim, to lock out all of our championships after Daytona and make Sebring a showcase race next week. We'll just have to see how it goes for those drivers out there.
Which would be kind of cool, because you race different when this championship is still on the line, and if they're all kind of settled out, then we can just go do an hour and a half at Sebring and just have a lot of fun.
Now,
go ahead.
What I would be interested in, Jim, is, and what I think would be interesting is if this change were to be made next season, if this would actually then force the championship to go to the final round, is if all the GT3 drivers were scored on an overall level instead of within their class, and if they were to implement rules of you have to make a certain distance before you actually score points, and what difference that would make to the championship. Because I think that if they were scored on an overall level, it wouldn't be such a runaway for the likes of Delgado and Caffrey. It would actually, I think it would actually be a lot closer. Because, and then I think if you also then get into the factor of you have to make a certain distance to score points, it means that by doing one lap, you're not getting P7 points, right? It means you have to make a certain distance, let's say 75% of the race distance.
Yeah, I think that's a good number. 50% certainly as an absolute minimum, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. And I think that if that happens, that then all of a sudden tightens it up. You can't do much about GT4s because of the amount of GT4s that are on track. So we can't include them in an overall standing. But I think the fact that we have GT3s in 3 different classes, because they're separated to roughly 15 cars per class, it doesn't really make sense to me to have them separated by class in points. I think it's better to have them on an overall.
I agree with that.
Because you're going to reward good driving from an AM driver, for example, who gets P7.
Right.
Compared to, say, to second in class, who might get P15, you're going to reward that drive of them finishing within the top 10 because they're going to get top 10 points. They're not going to get P1 points.
Yeah, I think that's a viable suggestion that, obviously Jed will hear because he watches all the broadcasts back. And but let's talk about Daytona here before we run out of our time here. Let's pull up the track map and get a look around this place. Not that there probably is anyone out there who doesn't already know this track. We're still going to showcase the beautiful track map designs of one of our producers, Ahmet Ohm. So we're going to take a look around this place and have Hamish walk you through a lap.
Of course, it's one of the world's most famous racing circuits, originally built on the beaches of Daytona, where they would race on the sands of that beach back in the original NASCAR seasons. And obviously it's well known for its super speedway layout use of the Daytona 500 at the start of the year. Of course, it's Daytona season when it comes to January and February, and it's when the 500 and the Daytona Rolex 24 is run as well. It is 12 turns of a massive power circuit, of course, and it all starts on the tri-oval of the speedway and heading in towards the braking zone of turn 1. Track limits have been adjusted in the most modern variant of this circuit, where you cannot run the former esports line as it was once known, where you could ultimately extend past the white line on the right-hand side of the circuit. Got to keep it tight through turn 1 and then through turn 2, just trying to skip those curbs and into the braking zone. Roughly at that last cone on your right-hand side, get yourself tucked in at turn 3, down to around about second or first gear, just to get the car turned in and get the power down out of there. Then through the treacherous kink at turn 4, where we're hopefully not going to see too many GT3 cars trying to get past those GT4s. Often at times it's one of the most dangerous spots to do it. Into the hairpin and the horseshoe at turn 5, where, again, just trying to run it as tight as possible. You've got to be careful that you don't get too early of an apex, otherwise you'll run it wide on the left-hand side and into the grass on the exit. Then you come up towards turn 6 at the entry to the bowl. Most famous words in an iRacing session: wait for the bowl from the slower class of cars, and this is where you're waiting for it as you're running onto the speedway section, onto the inside of what would be turn 1 and 2 at the speedway. It's through turn 7 for the road course, and just trying to tuck it nice and evenly on that inside line. Keep the speed up as much as you can, and just trying to hold the revs out to around about 255 kilometers per hour in fifth gear before you shift up into sixth gear as well. Then into the dreaded bus stop chicane, previously known as that, now known as the Le Mans chicane, through 8, 9, 10, and 11. And you just got to be careful of those curbs, but you've also got to be careful of the tyre bundles. They do not move. They are brick walls, and if you hit them, it is going to be massive damage on your car. We then run around turn 12 to end out the lap and get up to the highest point of speed up towards the pit entry as well. And that's going to be a factor tonight. Drivers are going to have to be cautious on that pit entry, not taking too much speed, because you can easily speed in pit lane here at Daytona as you're taking the NASCAR entry or the oval entry to pit lane, but you're taking the road course exit. So it's a fast-paced lap. Should be averaging around about 1 minute 45s for an average race lap. Pace, fastest times in qualifying would have been down and around the 144 mark as well. So it's a fast-paced lap, Jim. It's one of the easiest for traffic management between the GT3s and the GT4 cars because of the speed discrepancy between them. But as we prepare ourselves for 60 minutes at Daytona, what would be a regular stint in the Daytona 24-hour, we will ready ourselves for the grid here tonight as well. And interestingly enough, it is a Pro-Am top 3 off of qualifying as Zach Houston and Kurt Basler will make it an all-Porsche front row of the grid. To row 2, we then find Lance Campbell starting ahead of prospective GT3 Pro champion Ricardo Delgado. As we said, he just has to complete lap 1 and he will be the provisional champion. Nathan Biggett will start alongside Lorenzo Araujo in his best qualifying performance of the season in P6 on row 3, as we'll then find prospective AM champion Jed Cotterman in behind them in P7, with Justin Bock on row 4 and starting out a P8 in his Acura. Of course, he'll be hoping that Godzilla can roar his way onto the podium here tonight. Justin Cornett, Michael Caffrey for the top 10. Of course, Caffrey is that prospective champion of the Pro-Am class. Harrison Holiday down the order tonight, so it's a good starting position for Caffrey on the comparison. James Leneve and Jamie MacArthur will then start for row 6, and to row 7 is where we will find ourselves with Luis Ortiz and Scott Petrone, and all BMW 7th row of the grid. To row 8, we'll find Scott Mowry and Brandon Herzing for the top 16 cars, and to P17 we'll find John Swan and the sole Ferrari out there starting alongside Harrison Holiday out of P17 tonight. To row 10, we find Jacob Cotterman and Ty Baxter for our top 20, and then back to row 11, we'll find ourselves with David Vulpa and Marc Ogier for the top 22. To row 12, we find James Gilpin and Chet Miller for the top 24. And then back to the GT4 cars, we find Cole Malley on pole once again, starting alongside John Voigt. To row 14, we'll find Timothy Schaefer and Chris Grondin for the top 28 cars. And to make up our top 30 here this evening, it is Oliver Brooks with Aidan Kiley in behind them. To the final 2 positions on the grid, it is Ellison Flagino starting alongside Justin Welsh. They managed to not get solid qualifying times in, so they'll start from the back of the GT3 field. Now, Welsh and Flagino have got to try and get past those GT4s for this race start here of the GT3 class. Zach Houston, the pole sitter, is starting out of pit lane, Jim, so he's missed the race start. This is a massive blunder after he's put that Porsche on pole position. The pace car will come into pit lane. The pole position now gets given to Kurt Basler with Biggett in P2 on the starting grid, with Delgado in behind them and Cotterman as well. So there's been a little bit of ebbing and flowing for some cars dropping down the order. Lance Campbell has been dropped back as we are green flag and in towards turn 1 for the first time here tonight. So there's been a little bit of buffering between cars, Jim, and that has shuffled the grid order here tonight. But it's given a great bonus to Biggett, who now goes into P1 through turn 1, 2 and 3. The GT4s will come up towards the tri-oval to get themselves started here tonight as well. But it's a hot start at Daytona once again. But man, what a horrid night for Zach Houston, who's had to start at a pit lane after getting that pole position.
Yeah, that's kind of brutal for sure.
Absolutely brutal. So Biggett now into P1. So there's been something weird's happened here, because Campbell is down 18 spots, Jim. So I don't know if he's had an EOL penalty for some reason or what, as we've already had some contact between John Swan and Brandon Herzing down and within the horseshoe section of the circuit. So some of those AMs have had contact, as Ortiz has now gone off as well off the entry to the bowl. So that BMW is already off the road. But yeah, a struggle already for some drivers out there, Jim, especially John Swan, who's already dropped so many positions in this race. As Gilpin's also off in the Aston Martin. So cold tyres, cold brain, and maybe a little bit of cold tendencies that's caused some drivers just to drop off early here at Daytona.
Yeah, indeed. This is, typical, I think, of this many cars starting at Daytona. We're going to see a few incidents here and there to get started. I'm still trying to figure out what happened early on there, if that was a penalty or what for Lance Campbell. I'm trying to figure out what happened. I don't see an
I have
incident.
to wonder maybe. Well, what I would say is maybe he got given a rear of grid penalty tonight for the contact that happened at lap 1 last week at Road Atlanta that we spoke about.
Yeah, maybe.
That contact that happened as Nathan Biggett's gone off at turn 1. So the race leader has gone off after contact with Kurt Basler. So something has happened between those guys down there. And, well, this is in fact what has actually happened. So Basler had the toe on Biggett down towards turn 1. He goes for the outside line. So how has this occurred down there? So Biggett runs his line. Oh, Basler just turns straight into him and contact's made.
Oh,
very messy
big
incident.
Shot too.
Yeah, messy incident and a poor piece of cornering there from Kurt Basler, and that has knocked Biggett right down the order tonight. And the German may have some answering to do for that moment.
Yeah, that was brutal there. Golly. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at that again on the big screen here shortly. Let's get this up and change this to overall here.
So now that a lap, by the way, Jim, has been completed, Ricardo Delgado is now the provisional pro champion. So when we get to the end of the race, that is when he will be officially crowned the GT3 pro champion. The same for Jed Cotterman in the AM class as well. So both of those titles are now wrapped up because if they complete a lap, they get points for last position in their class. So that means that both those guys have now provisionally got their hands on the trophy.
So riding on board here with Justin Bach, I have to say, man, Justin has been on an absolute tear the last week or so. Of course, it was well documented that he picked up his first LMP2 win a couple of Fridays ago, and I documented it here pretty, I talked about it quite a bit last week, and then he finished second overall last week in this particular series with the driving the Acura, and then Friday night again he ends up winning the LMP2 race Friday night in the Bite Point Series again, and it came down to literally a last lap battle where he makes I don't want to say a send or a lunge because that wasn't exactly what it was, but he drove it in there and they had a little net code and he wrecked, but the leader went on. But the leader had enough incidents that net code put him over the incident limit and gave him a black flag. And then at the same time, Justin Bach received a black flag as we see somebody going off down there at the bottom.
Yeah, that's Zach Houston, who's gone off the road. Just quickly as well, Jim, Cole Malley has completed his lap and he's pulled into pit lane. So he's going to get points tonight for last place in GT4, and I think he's done that to step aside to give the opportunity for a race win to another GT4 driver out there. So he knows he's already won the title. He's finished his lap. He'll get points for that position, and now we move on to actually have a battle for the race lead in the GT4 class with Schaefer battling with Voigt here for those honours. Yeah,
so and to finish the story, so Justin finished the race with a meatball flag and crossed the line, and the person he was competing against, as we see another car going around down there, who is that? Oh my gosh, big curb hit.
Ellison Flagino. Catching the curves down at the Le Mans chicane, and
that's the difference in the Le Mans chicane and the bus stop.
Well, you know what? He was very lucky he didn't hit the wall, Jim. Very, very lucky he did not hit the wall, and now he keeps pushing on. Fast up of the race, by the way, by the provisional GT3 Pro Champion Ricardo Delgado, 145.39 on that last attempt from him. So he's now gone fastest in the entire field here at this stage. To give the update on the Pro-Am categories as well, for Harrison Holiday, he currently sits, Jim, 3 positions behind Michael Caffrey at this stage, and he is chasing him down. So he's going to try and do anything in his power to try and get past Caffrey tonight. If Holiday goes on to win the Pro-Am class and Caffrey finishes last place in that classification tonight, it's going to be on next week at Sebring. There is going to be a chance for Holiday to win that title. For Caffrey, he's just going to be hoping that he finishes within those needed I think it was 9 points that he has to finish within. So that's going to be pretty neat and tidy if he can do that.
Yeah, I mean that's a big wish to keep that title alive for next week. But I think, God, man, that curve coming out of the Le Mans chicane is so brutal now. It really is.
Oh, it is. It really, really is. And
which I like.
And
I'm
not
to
just
be
that,
honest
I mean,
with you, I'm cool with that. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a really brutal moment. I mean, it's cost drivers all over the iRacing service. It cost me my win this year in the Raw because I made a simple mistake through the bus stop, which anyone can do. And, you know, it only takes a millimeter or even an inch offline, Jim, and all of a sudden it can be all over for you. You can be in the wall and you're just trying to fix your car in pit lane. I mean, you know, you got to try and hit it the exact same as you can every single time you come through that chicane, and it's one of the hardest to do. I mean, it's especially during the 24-hour.
Right.
I mean, you imagine trying to hit the same corner the same way 24 hours, you know, every single stint, every single lap that you're doing.
That's
It's
right.
almost impossible.
Yeah, I have to give a shout out here to Lorenzo Arroyo this evening. He is currently running 4th overall, 2nd in class, and you know, we've kind of followed his journey here. You know, you and I have certainly been critical of some of the race moves he's done over the season so far. And then come to find out, he had messaged me and asked to use some footage. And come to find out, he's only been iRacing just a couple of months and probably really wasn't ready to join a GT3 league, but he did. And he's been learning on the fly, and I have to say he's put in a lot of work, and to see him qualifying and running up front given where he was 3 months ago when this whole thing began is you know, pretty impressive. I got to give him his credit. You know, he's learned a lot along the way, and he's certainly gotten faster.
Yeah, it's seriously great to see from him, to see this sort of improvement from Lorenzo. You know, and we were critical, and you know, it's good that he took the critic in its stride, you know, in his stride, and knowing that he's just trying to improve and get better and better and better. And you know, often as we say, Jim, we may be critical, but if we see you improve, we're going to give you the plaudits for that.
That's right.
That's a massive thing if we can see improvement on track week in and week out, because you deserve the plaudits for it, because you are. You know, you're pushing yourself to your absolute limit to do so.
Something just happened here with Justin Bach. I'm not sure what it was, but let's see.
We've currently got as well Ty Baxter battling away here with Jacob Cottam, and this was Caffrey into the Le Mans chicane with Bach ahead of him as well. Oh, he jumped that curb. He jumped that curb. Very lucky not to get any underside damage on that Acura, but it really ruined the run onto turn 12. And that's the problem. You've got to try and not only maximize your run through the chicane, Jim, you got to try and make sure you don't bump those curbs and then risk getting put into the wall. It's a tough balancing act down there to carry the speed and to get as much pace as possible out of your car. But when you're coming onto the lead up to the fastest point of the circuit down towards the tri-oval. So, you know, for a mistake like that, if you do that lap after lap after lap, you're going to just drop positions every single time you go by, and it is a real tough moment.
I was hoping I could catch that on one of the static cameras, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to.
Let's see if we can here. We almost seen a speed cam.
Wrong angle. I did the other cam just a second ago, but it didn't seem to work out.
Well, if you are watching out there tonight as well, get into the chat with us. Wolfbane has been out there as well saying good-sized field, and it really is tonight. Over 30 cars on the track.
And this is at the end of the season. You know, typically all these leagues tend to fade away as the season goes. That was weird.
Oh, Scott Mowry. Scott Mowry has gone off down there at turn 1 and nearly collides with the wall. What has happened to Mowry down there? After such a good start tonight, he had Bach right in behind him leading up towards turn 1. Was there contact made between the Lamborghini and the Acura, or has he done this on his own? I think he's done it on his own, Jim. And it looks to be a bit too much speed.
Oh,
and around and into the wall.
well, he smoked it too.
Gilpin has now been into pit lane as well. He takes his first stop of the race. He's only 11 minutes into it, so he's going to be guaranteed to need a second stop tonight. Could be race over for him as well. Cole Malley was in the chat with us too. That's how I knew he was out of the race tonight as well. So he's pulled out here this evening. Timex to Jacob
What bums
Cotterman
me out is that I didn't
well.
get to get him on camera because
maybe he was too warm.
He probably was too warm in that outfit.
He's probably brining away in his own sweat in that pickle outfit.
Have we determined that was a pickle outfit? Is that what it was?
I never got to see it, so I don't know.
Oh. Well, it was either a pickle or a Gumby. Damn it. There you go. I couldn't resist that one. You didn't respond to that. You do know who Gumby is, don't you?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I figured you didn't, since that's why you didn't respond. I think Gumby was a cartoon character, but it was made famous by Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live. He used to play Gumby, but he used to do it in Eddie Murphy style. You know, he's like, "I'm Gumby, damn it!" It's just.
I never watched SNL, Jim, so I don't know. I know of SNL and I know of some of the skits. I've seen some of the skits, but I've never watched SNL.
Interesting.
Yeah, as an episode in its entirety.
Your personality, you would absolutely love the old SNL.
Oh, I do love a lot of the skits that I've watched from SNL, but I've never watched it on a weekly basis or gone back to watch old episodes, mind you, as well. Delgado, by the way, new fast lap of the race, 145.24. Etching out Kurt Basler, who had the fast lap of the race with a 145.25 by 100th of a second on that lap. So both of them went fastest across that run. And as they continue to push forward here as well, I mean, Delgado, he's sitting pretty at the moment. He doesn't need the race win tonight. Basler, we'd love to get the race win for the pride of getting that win, of course, here at Daytona. But Delgado and Cotterman chasing him down. And all three of our class winners, or leaders at least, at this stage of the race are all on the overall podium as Cotterman continues to pressure Delgado here for P2 on the road. Of course, Jed did some track acclimatization earlier in the year, Jim, when he came here for the 24 hours, so he knows the track inside and out. I heard a rumor that he actually scooped up some tarmac to bring it home with him so he could really feel what Daytona is like and understand what makes it tick.
So you're saying he stole some asphalt?
Yes.
Well, if that move works out for my family, then potentially I could be right down the road from here myself next year.
Well, John Swan's had a moment as well through the bus stop. He had Ellison Flagino in behind him, and he's gone off the road and into the wall at the bus stop chicane. Michael Caffrey as well has dropped positions here. Contacts happen somewhere on the road. And this is what's happened to Michael down at turn 1-2. The race leader, the championship leader for the Pro-Am class has gone hard into the wall. He's going to have to take an extra pit stop tonight to get that thing fixed up. But it has dropped him below Harrison Holiday now by 5 positions at this stage. He's dropped below him. Okay. Harrison's in P3 in class, Caffrey's P7.
Now that that's happened, can you re-enlighten me again on what it's going to take for that to drag into next week?
Pretty much, if they finish how they are, let me double check actually. Let me find old championship standings so I can find the point system, because I know it's 150 for a race win.
Yes.
So let me go do a bit of a look to try and find the actual standings, because then I can tell you.
Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
Not the standings, but the series info in terms of point standings, because I actually don't know where to find them. Oh, extreme scoring. That'll help me, Jim.
Yes, that's probably where you need to go. Yes.
Yes, let's go there, and let's find some points that we need to be able to use here to figure this out as well. So standings details. Talk amongst yourselves whilst it loads. Right. Thank you very much.
Jed Cotterman here, closing on the back of Delgado, giving him a run for his money.
I mean, putting massive pressure on him, and I suppose next season, when he does, when he does inevitably go to pro class next season, Jim,
Yes.
ultimately it is going to be him. You know, he would be battling for a race lead right now in the GT3 pro class, and this is why we feel that he should be up there, which he's going to be.
Yes. Yeah,
You know,
he's
ultimately
firmly
that's where
committed
he's
to
going
it
to
at
be.
this point.
He is. So, you know, that there is going to, you know, obviously tell us certain things in terms of where he's going to be placed and stuff like that. Can I look at points, please? Here we go. Okay. So, for P3, he will get 130 points at this point. Back in P7, for Mr. Caffery, 4, 5, 6, 7, 109 points, Jim. It is telling me.
So that's
For
21
P7.
points difference.
Yeah, 21 points. So leading into this race, there was a differential. Let me load it. There we go. There was a differential of 159 points. So where they are now would take them into next week. That would take, because that would drop the gap down to 100 and how many points did you say it was? It was 21.
Mm-hmm.
Take him down to 138 points differential. Now, if it goes into next week like that, Harrison's going to need Michael to miss the race ultimately, because there isn't enough GT3 Pro drivers in the field for him to defeat him by a full, you know, by 138 points. There's not enough points differential because of the amount of drivers that are in that field.
Right.
So ultimately, Harrison needs Michael to finish in P9 tonight, and he needs to try and get up and around P1 somehow.
Yeah, well, that's going to be
for
tough
him to
considering
really
P1
take
is
advantage of
overall
that.
P1 tonight right now.
Yeah, yeah. And again, this is then the point we were making before of why it would be great for an overall points tally for
Yes.
GT3, because that then would make it a lot harder
Yes.
for drivers to win the championship around before the final round of the season.
No, I think that's
Cole's
a very
saying,
viable thing that you pointed out
Cole's
there.
saying, what class should he be in when he goes into GT3? I think Cole should be in Pro-Am.
I mean, I would argue Pro-Am. But since the championship is over, I would like to see, you know, him run next week and see, you know, just, you know, I mean, I don't think anybody would question whether or not if he took and moved himself, if he went into AMs. I mean, that's a fair, you know, markup. But if you look at the likes of Lance Campbell, you know, he came out of the GT4s, correct? Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And he's very competitive in the Pro-Am class, and I would argue that at this point, Cole is more dominant than Lance Campbell was.
Oh, just quickly as well, Harrison Holiday, we just saw it on your screens then, getting a slowdown at turn 1, took a little bit too much track on the left-hand side, ran it wide, and that's now cost him a position to Lance Campbell as well. So Holiday has just dropped a position.
And also Ty Baxter.
Well, he was already behind Baxter previously. Baxter got past him on the run through the bus stop. But yeah, Holiday's going to try and make moves now, because this is not helping him in that Mount Everest level climb to the championship for the Pro-Am class here at the end of the season.
Of course, to be fair, based on the conversation that we had last week with Harrison, I don't know if he has the fire in his belly to win the championship this year. You know what I mean? Like, he was very much satisfied with the thought that he could finish P2 overall in the championship. And you know what I mean? He just did not have that fire about winning the championship. You know what I mean? And so I don't know that he is I just don't know that he was mentally prepared this late in the season to come in here and try to contest to win the championship. So that would be my question, you know, is he, you know, content to finish second in the championship and is kind of guarding that as opposed to trying to pull some crazy stuff and win the championship. You know.
Oh, Cole's just asked, by the way, in the chat, what happens if he beats Jed?
I still think that he should not go any higher than Pro-Am.
I don't think so either.
You know,
I think I've seen Cole drive a GT3 car. I think he's at Pro-Am pace. I think he's at Pro-Am ability. And I think putting him middle of the road then gives you a season to determine which class is he applicable in. Is he applicable in an AM class, a Pro class, or a Pro-Am class? And you then make that decision. And I'm interested to see what the class looks like. Oh, sorry, David Vulper here has just had a massive incident, on the infield. He's just crossed the circuit. So that's actually going to be a massive moment for him because of the factor that, he's just crossed that track. That's a massive slowdown. He may actually get a black flag for that, Jim, because he's crossed turn 3 and he's just come straight out at turn 4. As Gilpin now has a black flag as well, so I don't think he's actually served a slowdown.
Volpa got the black flag that you talked about.
Yeah, thought he would.
Oh,
and
Chet.
He'll have to come to pit lane. That was Chet Miller into turn 1. A poor moment for him, unfortunately. Good run, though, at the last few rounds of the season, Jim, that he's been having, it must be said, for Chet Miller. And we want to see him do well in these final few rounds. As Gilpin's in to serve that black flag, his race is probably over tonight in terms of a contested position. As Ty Baxter is off the road, off the exit of the Le Mans chicane.
Well, there's one spot back for Harrison Holiday.
So this is what's happened to Ty down there, who now has a slowdown penalty as well. He comes through the first part of the chicane, gets it a bit loose, tries to pull it up, then knocks the rear on. Yep, caught that sausage curb, and it's just loosened up the Porsche.
Those curbs are freaking brutal, man.
Oh, they are. They are indeed. Caffery, Baxter, Flagino, and Welsh are all now into pit lane as well. So some first stops coming in here very early, though, for these stops to be happening.
A bit early.
Now we mentioned the points on the fuel game as Jacob Cotterman's now gone round at turn 1 as well, Jim. So another struggle for Cotterman this season. He's run it too wide. Rear end's gone round, tried to carry way too much speed, and around it's gone. So it needs to be hopefully a learning moment for Jacob, who was just struggling to get that thing pulled back up again, but he is back out there and running once again. We mentioned that the fuel that could be used between cars. We know that the Mustang is the highest fuel guzzler out there. It drinks quite a fair bit, Jim, across the whole race. So we would expect that all of the Mustangs should be some of the first stoppers, but the fact that we're getting a Corvette, a Porsche as well, which is one of the best fuel savers in the whole field.
One of the best, because
and a Merc of Caffery. This is very early for them. Very early.
Let's say Lance Campbell is the highest running Mustang in the field. Let's take a look at see what his fuel is looking like. I mean, they're pitting awful early. I guess that they're inside of that window, especially since we learned about the 65-75 thing last week.
I would say they are in the window as Tim Schaefer and Zach Houston have had a moment together down at the Le Mans chicane once again. It's claiming more and more victims, Jim, and this is what has happened between them. So Schaefer on the inside of the GT3 car, and that's the problem. We're trying to manage the traffic through the chicane. It's never going to work, and teammates make contact through that corner, and Houston has gone round, and he's knocked his own teammate out of the race lead of the GT4 category. A real shame for Tim Schaefer right now, who's now lost 12 seconds to John Voight, as Campbell, Ortiz, and Houston are all into pit road.
I mean, I guess I see what they're doing here, but man, give me the laps on the lighter fuel.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? Light fuel, fast car.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why you would pit this early if you don't have to. I mean, the only reason that I would say that in my mind that you would do that is if you're in a group of traffic that you weren't making any headway, and you were being held up. Other than that, why would you not want to run the car down to empty? It's easier on the tires. It's lighter. The car's quicker. You know,
it's one of the reasons why the undercut doesn't necessarily work all that well at Daytona.
right,
Because you run so much faster on low fuel.
right.
This is the time when you're going to be getting those 145s, almost 144s
Plus
on your low fuel run.
it's easier on the tires. So in the
That's
long
right.
run, it's good. But they're all pitting, man. It's like follow the leader here. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. I wish somebody
They're all
would
coming
stick it
in.
out. It looks like Justin Bach is.
Yeah,
I hope
Justin Bach is.
somebody tries to run this out in a traditional way to see if if my thought process is correct, because I just do not get why you're pitting this early, because they do not need to. I mean, we can.
By the way, David Vulpa has still got that black flag.
Huh?
He's not come in to serve it yet.
Well, you better soon.
Oh, he has to this
There
lap.
he is.
If he
He's
doesn't serve it this lap,
He's in.
as Cotterman's going to scream by him, if he didn't serve it this lap, he was actually going to be disqualified.
Well, I mean, he knew what he was doing. I think he.
Well, no, hang on. He's coming in for a stop.
Well, he's going to get DQ'd then, unless it's a stop and go.
No, it wouldn't. It would be a drive-through. It doesn't give stop and holds.
Well, if that's the case, then he's fixing to get DQ'd.
Because, I mean, it could be a stop and hold, I suppose, but I don't think it should be.
He's in
this,
there.
This should be a
He's
drive-through.
in there a long time.
It's going to be, okay, it is a stop and hold.
He's
Okay,
still sitting
it is a
there.
stop hold. Yeah, it's a stop hold. Okay, all right.
Yeah. And,
James Gilpin, by the way, has just gotten a meatball flag. He's now back in pit lane as Ellison Flagino has had another moment here down at turn 1. Oh, it's a massive spin for the Corvette. Very lucky not to hit the wall.
Lucky.
Somehow, some way, he doesn't hit the wall. And actually, I think Vulpa's actually pulled out of the race, Jim, because I think he realized that it was a drive-through and that this was his final attempt, that he could actually serve the drive-through. So I think he's actually out. As Araujo's gone round as well, down at turn 3.
Yeah, I was about to pull that up. You got it? Yeah, there you go.
I've got it right here. Oh, sorry, that's not turn 3. That's the second horseshoe. At turn 6. So, that there is a real struggle for him. But yeah, Vulpa's driving out of pit lane. That's a very long stop hold.
Well, he is back out.
As Bok comes into pit road now. So, Nathan Biggett will take the race lead.
That's an insane stop hold if that's what that was.
Yeah. Biggett's come back out in the race lead, by the way, as Flagino's now got a black flag.
But he has
but he needs to pit again because he last pitted on lap 2. So he will need to pit again with an 11-second deficit back to Kurt Basler, who is the corrected race leader. Flagino's back in now to serve that black flag penalty. The GT4s we still await to come through pit road as well. There is some love out there for our corrected race leader, Kurt Basler, from Kayla in the chat as well, giving the cheering on of the German in the field. And Kurt is doing a great job right now in the corrected race lead ahead of the prospective pro champion in Ricardo Delgado.
Well, she called him Pops, so I'm guessing that is her dad and not her husband.
Possibly.
Unless they have
Flagino's out of the race, by the way.
Weird relationship or something.
I don't know. Flagino, by the way, has knocked out of this race. He's left. I don't know. Jacob Cotterman's into pit lane now for a second stop, ultimately. I don't know why. That might be him pulling out of the race as well, because Flagino's now out. And there'd be no point for Jacob to come into pit lane for a second time in this race without a penalty. So I'd say that is his race done and dusted. Oh, he's coming out again. 13.5 seconds.
Maybe he's just going to get some practice in.
Very odd strategy for Jacob Cotterman. Maybe he's going for the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a very odd choice.
Well, you wouldn't fuel up if you were going for fastest lap of the race.
No, you just take tyres. And it's not like they can siphon the fuel out of the car as well.
They can't do that, though. Can they?
No, they can't.
Yeah,
they can't. They can't siphon it out. So 4 cars out of this race at this stage. Ellison, Najario, Flagino, Brandon Herzing, James Gilpin, and Cole Malley are out of the race tonight here at Daytona. We are left with 27 cars in the order. 28 cars in the order at this stage.
We are just at the halfway point in this race, and we do not have a single GT3 car that has not pitted. with the exception of Bigot, because that doesn't really count. Why do I keep calling him Bigot? It's Biggert, Jim. Biggert.
I don't know. I don't know, Jim.
I think it's a southern slang
Oh, no.
thing.
Chet Miller's gone round again. This time it is at the entry to the bowl. At turn 6. This is what's happened. He's carried just that little bit too much speed through there. Rear's gone round. And off the road he goes, unfortunately, for Chet Miller. As
he really
Lewis who's that around? That's James Leneven.
Leneven, yeah.
Yep. Around at turn 2.
Oh, my God.
Be careful of your rejoin, James. My God, he's towed back. And Zach Houston nearly got caught up in that.
Well, I have to say that I'm going to give him credit there, that he saw that the cars that were behind him were already past him, and he continued to let it roll backwards to get out of the way of the car that was about to T-bone the front end of his car. I don't know if that is actually the case, but I'm going to give him that level of credit right now because that's apparently what it looked like.
That's what it appeared to be.
I mean, if you look at it, I will watch it again real quick. Why is my thing over your picture? I don't understand that.
Oh, I've explained it to you before, Jim.
Oh, because I'm an idiot. That's why. So he's rolling back. Everybody goes behind him. Oh, he even gassed it up.
They were coming past him.
Yeah,
as
he
was
gassed
coming
it
back
up
already.
to even go backwards faster to get out of the way. So, okay, so
yeah,
that was actually.
Should have just held his brakes and stayed where he was.
So I need to have SDK. Well, that doesn't work.
You need to overlay your SDK over everything and have it sized so it fits the entire screen.
No, that's another argument for a different day.
That's something we can sort out at another time, I would argue.
Yes.
At this point. Houston backed up Welsh, battling for position now further back in the field as well. As Justin Cornett's done a great job tonight. He battles with Lance Campbell inside the top 10 at this stage. I tell you, that is a beautiful Porsche of Justin Cornett, it must be said. Gives me a heavy reminder, Jim, of not only the Porsche GTP cars of the past, but also, interestingly enough, of the Haas F1 cars. That's the vibe I'm getting off that car right now.
I can see that.
I don't know if you... Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm quite familiar with
the original,
the Toyota.
The original Haas, or even the newer one as well.
Yeah,
it's giving me that vibe.
The Toyota GR version of the new Haas cars currently. Damn, Volpa's had another incident.
Oh, he's had another incident. Yep. Yeah, and that's a bad one as well. He's towed it straight back to pits. Cornett's now gone off as well. This is what happened to Volpa down through the bus stop chicane. Caught the curb straight in the wall. And that car has gone kaput.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably going to be the end of his night. It's just a time to probably pack it up and say goodnight.
There's Scott Mowry as well, battling with Michael Caffery here too. Down towards the bus stop chicane. I'm never going to call it the Le Mans chicane, Jim. It's always going to be the bus stop in my eyes.
I mean, I agree, which I don't understand the whole thought process why every chicane in the world now.
It's because IMSA wants it to be like WEC. They're trying to follow WEC. They want it to be Le Mans chicane because Le Mans has chicanes. That's why. That's the whole reason.
Yeah, but is it because they want it to be, or is it because they're doing that to try to strengthen their relationship? Because word on the street is that the WEC cars and the IMSA cars are going to get closer together where they're almost identical and interchangeable.
That would be nice.
Yes, it would be, because then
what I think
then we
what
could
I think
have
would be
the different, like the Genesis can come over and run over here, and so can the.
What I would like, Jim, is for WEC at the end of the year to run a 12-hour of Daytona. I want WEC to go back to Daytona because they don't currently go to Daytona, and I think it'd be nice because they can't run the 24-hour with them because ultimately all of the teams in the GTP class, at least majority of the teams, run in both. So it doesn't really make sense to me to have the Daytona 24-hour be both WEC and IMSA. So I think it'd be nice if they did a 12-hour at the end of the year at Daytona. That is the WEC Daytona. And at the start of the year, it's the IMSA Daytona. They have a 24.
Speaking of Daytona and all, how about obviously you watched Sebring, right?
I've watched the highlights of Sebring, and I watched the end of Sebring.
So did I, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
I
about
forgot
the
that it was on at midnight.
How about the 1-2 finishes across the board there? You had
I can't remember now.
Porsche finished 1-2.
Yes,
in the
of course.
GTP cars.
It's just regular day. Jimis Marcos has now got a meatball flag. Oh, sorry, no, it's Jacob Cotterman. Sorry, he's actually got the meatball flag just quickly here.
Oh.
But continuing on to your point that you were just making, so a moment here for Jacob Cotterman.
Oh my God, really? My brain is so fried. I literally can't remember anything.
LMP2?
Yes, in the LMP2 category. Oh my God. The team that that Zach Brown owns.
Oh, yes, Andretti.
No, not Andretti. The team that Zach Brown owns.
Yeah.
No, it's not Andretti.
What, McLaren?
Well, he's the boss of McLaren. He owns.
He owns a portion of Andretti United. It's United Autosports, Jim.
No, that's the no. He owns the full. Oh my God! Hold on. My brain. I can't. The sad part is I've got my son an interview with them on April 2nd, and I can't remember the daggum team name. Are you kidding me?
I'm finding it for you, Jim. Don't worry.
Looking. United Autosports.
What did I just say, Jim?
You said.
I said United Autosports.
You said Andretti.
And then I said United Autosports.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. I just heard Andretti. But it's yes, United Autosports. Yeah, I've got my son an interview with them on the 2nd of April. So that's cool for like an internship as an engineer trainee kind of person. But anyway, so yes, United Autosports goes 1-2 at Sebring in the LMP2 category, and then of course you saw
Corvette
the
1-2.
Well, it wasn't a Corvette; it was a Ferrari, wasn't it?
Or was it?
I thought it was
in GT3.
I
just
thought
regular
it was
GT3
in the GTD category. I thought it was a Ferrari that passed.
Oh yes, it was. Sorry,
that passed that car at the last, like 2 corners to go at Sebring to take the lead on the last lap of the race to go.
So GTD Pro was Manti and iRacing 1-2.
Yes, that's right. But the other
GTD
two
Pro.
LMP were
GTD was Corsa and Hard Racing was GTD 1-2 after that. So
right.
LMP2 and GTP was 2 teams,
yes.
1-2 finish, and the others
crazy.
were. Yeah,
I see your boy Matty Campbell is not a full-time driver this year.
No, he's not. I believe he's only in for the 3 driver races because he has been doing some GT3 stuff as well. I believe he's a full-time driver this year in WEC, although I don't watch WEC, so I don't know.
Oh, you don't watch WEC?
No, I prefer IMSA over WEC.
I like WEC.
The time zone difference is better for IMSA.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah. Yeah, I like
Biggett's now in the pit lane, by the way, in his final stop of the race, so Biggett comes in. Well, what I will do is, Jim, if WEC runs a 12-hour of Portimao, I'll watch that.
But only if it's 12 hours?
Oh, I'll watch it if it's 6 hours. If it's at Portimao, I'll watch it. So Biggett's going to rejoin the field here after this pit stop. We're into the final 20 minutes of this race, by the way. So Biggett now will come out amongst that battle we've been watching.
He's coming right in there with him,
Campbell right into it. So that now promotes Campbell into the top 5, MacArthur into P4, Cotterman P3, and Delgado Basler back in the top 2 positions as well. John Voigt leads the way, by the way, for the GT4 class by 17 seconds over Tim Schaefer. That contact between Schaefer and Houston at the bus stop has really taken away that precious GT4 race lead that we were having the battle for a little bit earlier on in this race. For Maori, back in P10, great performance here tonight in his first outing. He's up 5 positions and is beating the provisional GT3 Pro-Am champion for this season.
And that's after smoking the wall, too. Because you remember Maori smoked the wall earlier in the race.
He did. And he's done well to get back to this point. So at this stage, with 19 minutes to go, it is up to Caffrey to survive the next 19 minutes ahead of Harrison Holiday. And he will be the Pro-Am champion for Cotterman and Delgado. They've already locked out their titles for Malley. We locked it out last week when we were around at Road Atlanta. Sebring's going to be an interesting case next week, Jim. It's not going to be any championship that we're talking about. It's literally going to be straight up. We're talking about the race and the race result. It's going to be a bragging rights event, ultimately.
Yep, that's going to be cool.
And
I would argue that the strategy that we talked about staying out until you ran out of fuel, paid off for Nathan Biggett.
And, well, of course, Biggett can run those fast laps, so that played out perfectly for him because he was able to sit at the front of the field with no one attacking him, full pace, running 145s, 144s, whatever he was running, and ultimately getting as much pace out of this car as possible. And that is what worked out well for him on this
case. He had dropped after that initial pit stop to repair that damage. He had dropped all the way back into the high 20s. And he recovered now. He's all the way up to 8th place.
Yeah, he's only 3 spots back from where he qualified.
Right.
So he could still get back to where he qualified in P5.
Yeah. Oh, I think he will. If you look, he's only about 2 seconds behind 5th place overall right now. And we both know that when Nathan gets rolling, if he doesn't push too hard, which he's been known to do sometimes in these situations, we know he's probably going to run down those guys in front of him. I mean, he's right on.
It's about to be the ultimate rundown, ultimately, Jim, and it's going to be a fantastic battle for this position. We've got outside and inside shots of this battle as well as we get to the dying embers of this race. Wow, Jim, I went to roll bar and then you were like, let's go to the roll bar.
I didn't know you were there.
So we're right on board with Biggett as he begins his chase down. So, but yeah, and I think, Jim, what would be good leading into next season, because we know we're going to Europe next season, right? We know that's all European track.
Yes.
Some all-timers are on that calendar. What I think would be great is if there could be a meeting between the drivers, admin, and even us as broadcasters, and we can have a bit of a powwow and some ideas for next season and discuss some things of how can we make this series better, because the racing is fantastic. Now, yes, we've had some struggles this season as Biggett gets that move made. Yes, there's been some struggles this season with some racecraft issues. But they've been cleaned up quite a fair bit over the last few rounds.
You put 50 guys on track, that's going to happen no matter what.
It's going to happen. No matter what, it's going to happen. As Cole Malley's engine has finally blown in pit lane, by the way, after sitting there for 39 minutes and 55 seconds. But, yeah, and I think just discussing of how can the series grow and how can it maybe be made that little bit more competitive. We've spoken ad nauseum of what I think could happen in terms of classifications in the field, of how you can maybe change that up. They're not even
remotely interested in our opinion.
No, that's fine. But I think the more prudent opinion that would actually tighten it up is that overall point system that we spoke about.
I mean, I think that's viable, and I think that's something they might listen to and look into.
Scott Petrone, by the way, just had a moment down at the entry to the bowl as well. So he was following in behind Biggett then, remembering they were battling away for position.
They were, yeah.
And that's how he's gone round. So he just knocked off there as Mark Ogier as well has had a moment down at turn 1. But yeah, and I think, just having a little bit of a powwow between drivers and admin and us broadcasters, because we're some of the only people who watch these in their entirety, Jim, and call them as we see them. So I think, we get a good chance to figure out what's happening in the field and what may work in future.
Yes.
And
I mean, I
see where the series can grow for next season.
I think that if that truly would make which I think it would, make the points championships tighter in the long run, I think that would be a good thing. By the way, Aiden Kiley is he is. I didn't even realize he was out of the race, but he is, and he says he loves the update to 2K, the 1440. So thank you. Yeah, we I'm even possibly debating going to 4K, but I don't know if burning the resources is is a big enough advantage that it would be worth it. But the 2K looks amazing, and we're super happy. And to be honest, we both cameras are now in 2K as well. Even the picture-in-picture camera is also in 2K. So yeah, we got it going on here.
We do indeed. And just imagine how good it's going to be, Jim. Let's say 12 months down the line, when there's 2 picture-in-pictures happening, and there's even more views of the circuit. How good is that going to be?
Right.
When we have even more production space available to us.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I've got all the equipment. I just haven't. Honestly, it's more about setup for my broadcast. Oh.
Sorry, Araujo's just had a massive ride.
He did.
Through the bus side. It's going to cost him position here to Michael Caffrey as they battle along.
I want to see that again. I saw it out of the corner of my eye.
See if I can find it for us. Here we go.
If you got to, just do the jump back.
Yeah,
Pull a James Brown. Jump back, man. I want to kiss myself.
Let me find this better. Where's this? That's earlier. I'm going searching here. I'm going fishing. Here we go. Here we go.
Yep. So he swung it on the outside there.
He did. That's the wrong spot.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't the best camera angle for it.
Hang on. I've got a better camera angle for it now.
Bigot's coming. About to catch Justin Bach here.
He's starting to make that chase down, which is great to see from him.
Oh, speaking of that, Delgado has caught. Oh, there he goes. 2 wheels.
There's that shot you were trying to find earlier,
yes,
Jim.
That is the one I was trying to find earlier. Delgado is running down Basler as well. I'm going to stick to this Nathan Bigot battle here, though, because it's Bigot, Brock, and Campbell. They're all running right together. So, and MacArthur. So, it's just a matter of a few cars here, and he could gobble up 4 cars here like it was nothing.
We have got 11 and a half minutes to go on the clock in the final 60-minute race of Season 1 of 2026, the 4th season overall. He's had a moment on lap 27. This is what's happened to the Mustang driver out there. He's come through, I think that's turn 3, and he's just lost the rear end on the way around.
I've spun so many times at turn 3, I can't tell you.
It's at least 3 times, I would argue.
For me?
Oh, just anyone.
I mean, I've done it 3 times in one race.
See, there you go. It always happens in 3s as there's been contact further back. Michael Caffrey has gone into the wall. And that's allowed Houston past him as well as Harrison Holiday. So it's heating up down here for the provisional GT3 Pro-Am champion. Remembering that he needs to try and finish within 9 points of Holiday or beat him tonight to lock out that championship before Sebring next week. But he's got Zach Houston being a thorn in his side right now, making it hard for him to catch up to the Mustang ahead of him in P11.
Zach Houston has got a black flag.
Oh, well, that's not going to be that hard for him. Then he'll have to come through pit lane.
Indeed he will.
So we are less than 10 minutes to go now on the clock, with Basler and Delgado separated by less than half a second for the race lead, with Basler well ahead in the Pro-Am race lead at this stage. The fact that we have P1, P2 in the amateur class inside of the top 4 is incredible to see for Cotterman and MacArthur.
Yes.
Of course, next week will be the final time that Cotterman runs with that black banner on that car before moving to the Pro class for next season. It'll be the same for Caffrey at this stage with the green banner as well. But the battles are commencing and they are tightening up all throughout the top 10. Bock and Bigot are separated by barely a whisper right now.
Oh, nice.
With
he pinned him behind that Porsche.
Yep, that's MacArthur, who's in P4. Remembering that's P2 in the AM class. Every right to be there and battling for this spot. And Bigot is trying to get this move made to get up into P4 overall, but MacArthur's not going to want to give this up just yet. The Canadian battling hard here for overall top 5 honours with 2 of the fastest pro cars in behind him. Bigot wants around the outside of the King at turn 4. Can he get the move made? Gets it done. Bok makes contact. There's a little bit of front to tail action between all of them as MacArthur's been pushed out the way. Bok comes through after the kink. And now up to P5 goes Bok, and MacArthur gets dropped back to P6 on the road as it is heating up between them. Houston has had another moment, and it's contact with Zach Houston and Lorenzo Araujo down at turn 3 in a huge moment, Jim. 2 cars out of this race as Houston's had to tow back to pit road in a massive incident down there. It is heated up between the Pro-Am drivers, and this is what's happened. So Houston has completely lost it and just kablam straight into the side of Araujo. So we actually need to watch this back even further here for Zach Houston. And in fact, it's not even turn 3, it's down at turn 9. Or turn 5, sorry. So he battles away, comes through the kink, completely balks the braking. That almost looks like he's like tried to aim for him, Jim.
Do that again?
That is a very weird moment. I'm going to ride on board with him.
Yeah, I want to see if it does look like he just steered straight across there, doesn't it?
Oh, no.
No, he didn't.
So,
no, he didn't.
Holiday
He lost it.
comes into the braking zone.
Yeah.
So watch this back.
Yeah, go back outside.
Harrison Holiday actually moves across into the braking zone to try and get past. And actually, sorry, I tracked my statement. Houston was trying to take avoiding action because he's going for the move. Holiday's trying to go past the GT4 car. And Holiday moving over under brakes has actually then caused Houston to try and make a betterment choice of going off the track. But unfortunately, he's carrying too much speed, and Araujo is just an unlucky soul in that moment of actually getting contact.
And what a shame, too, because, you know, he had dropped back, but he was having a pretty decent night.
Yeah.
And then, man.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
Just got his clock cleaned.
He did.
Wow.
As well, Holiday and Caffrey have had to come into pit lane, Jim.
Both of them?
Yeah, weirdly enough, they've both had to come into pit lane. So they were battling. Oh, Holiday had massive damage.
Oh.
Look at that. His front left is hanging off that car.
Oh, yeah, bad.
So something's happened to Holiday's car to cause huge contact on it. And that's going to drop him well down the order. And then Caffrey's had to come in as well. Very, very strange. Very strange.
He probably got hit in that Zach Houston thing.
Well, let's have a look.
I bet you he got clipped in that Zach Houston thing.
Because Caffrey went off as well. So let's watch this back. So Caffrey goes off. Where does he go off? So there's the contact of Houston ahead of them.
Yeah, see, there's Harrison Holiday right there. Yeah, Harrison Holiday hits the Porsche. Look, right here.
Well, he does.
Yep,
he does hit him, and that destroys the front.
And I think
front left suspension.
Caffrey got hit by. If you go back, just go back a little bit right there. Just rewind it, and then jump back to the.
Oh, he was hit by the GT4.
Yeah, by the GT4 car that was trying to avoid the wreck. Yep, there it is.
A really messy moment down there at turn 5.
Bad.
That is huge. Absolutely huge.
5 minutes to go, by the way, as everything is heating up all over the place. Nathan Biggert is back up to 4th place overall, 2nd in class right now, behind, but significantly behind Jed. I don't know that he's going to be able to run down Jed at this point over 5 seconds. With 5 minutes, that would be tough. But
very, very tough.
Ricardo Delgado is within 0.3 of a second of Kurt Basler, and I'm sure Delgado would like to pull this win off, even though he's clinched his championship tonight. So this is going to be an interesting battle here, riding out the rest of this race.
Will indeed. And for Caffrey, now that he's down in P15, by the way, he is still obviously ahead of Holiday, but he's 13 seconds ahead of him. So Michael Caffrey as well with 5 minutes to go, is he hasn't, with Houston out, by the way, so this is actually with Zach Houston out, Michael Caffrey, unless there is an absolute nuclear bomb ahead of him, is going to be the Pro-Am champion walking out of tonight. Because unless he crashes and Holiday gains bulk positions, it ain't going to happen for Holiday. It's at a 99% chance that Caffrey's winning this title now, being back in P15. So that's going to wrap it right up pretty much, Jim, I would say. I think that incident ultimately has won Michael Caffrey the championship because both of them have.
To be fair,
dropped
though,
back.
they were running nose to tail when they got involved in that accident. So in reality, it was already over at that point anyway.
Yeah. What it's done is it's up to the percentile of it being that it's so
which
locked
it was already
in
pretty high anyway. So
it was, yeah. So Biggett
continues.
continues
It went
here.
from 94% chance of winning the championship to a 99% chance of winning the championship.
Yeah. With 3 minutes on the clock, race leaders coming up towards the tri-oval. So we suspect 2 laps to go, Jim, here at Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah,
we're going to go a little bit over
right.
time. Yeah, we're going to go a little bit over time as Delgado's going to send it on the outside of Basler down at turn 1. He's only going to get one more attempt at that move in this race.
But I think, honestly, I don't know that he was necessarily trying to make the pass there. I think he was just trying to make sure that Basler knows he's there and is going to start watching him in his mirror now.
Yeah. He's just reminding him
that he's there. Because the reality
is
what he wants to be second coming out of the bus stop on the last lap of the race.
Yeah, that's what he wants. You want to be P2 through the bus stop. Probably give yourself a little bit of room, Jim, to run as much pace as you can through the bus stop.
Yep.
Yeah, because the problem is if he's right up behind Basler can balk him in between turn 9 and 10. Oh, yeah.
I'd brake check him in the bus stop a little bit. Just a little. Just to make him slow down.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You come through turn 8 and 9 at the beginning of the bus stop, and then that little center part of it, you just dabble the brakes as he's right behind you, slow him up, ruins the run through turn 10 and 11.
Then he gets no run.
And then he doesn't get the run on you.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tough balancing act, though, because you don't want to slow yourself down too much. So right here, you brake check him right there, right in the middle of the corner.
Right.
Because it's going to ruin his run. Well, and if he tries to avoid you, he's going to get a slowdown.
He's staying back. He's not, right now he's probably just cooling his tires, just chilling, waiting to make his run on this next lap.
That's the gap that he wants on the last lap coming into the bus stop. That's about as much gap as he wants, and then run as much pace as you can through the bus stop. I would argue that may
be slightly too much, but we shall see here. Certainly, Delgado outclasses my racing skill by miles. So we shall see.
Yeah, class is mine.
But I think at this point, he's just trying to show him that he's there because in hopes that maybe Basler makes a mistake and he doesn't have to worry about making a last lap pass.
Yeah.
And then if all else fails, then you just set him up for the famous Daytona last lap pass.
Lance Campbell, by the way, has had a moment here as he was battling with Justin Bock.
Oh, he sure did.
Self-spin down at the entry to the bowl. And then Scott Petrone as well has had his own moment through the bus stop chicane. Campbell's had to bring it back into pit lane. He caught the inside curb at turn 9.
Ouch.
Or turn 10, and then the inside at turn 10 as well. So that car's gone straight into the barrier.
All right, here
as
we go.
Well. So on to the entry to the bowl for the final
got
time.
A black flag on the last lap. He better get in there and serve it quickly, or he's going to lose a lot of positions.
That's right. He's got to serve it this lap. So for Delgado, he's got a good amount of gap right now ahead to Basler. He just needs to hold that spot. He needs to hold that gap to not try and overrun him through the bus stop. It's probably a little bit too close now as they come up towards the entry into the braking zone for the final time. Under brakes, Kurt Basler leads to Ricardo Delgado. Has he got enough time? Has he got enough pace? He got a great exit, Jim. It worked out well.
The gap
was actually pretty good for him.
Yeah, the Porsche took a curve
his own run. Yep, he did. So Delgado now, can he get the pace that he needs, or is Basler going to outrun him here? It's going to be tight. I think he's a little bit too far away, though, Jim, as they come up towards the pit entry. He is coming. He's rocketeering his way forward. Nope. Basler, though, to the checkered flag. He's going to just get it ahead of Delgado as Basler wins overall. Here at Daytona, he wins the Pro-Am class tonight as well. Delgado comes home. P2 on the road. P1 for the pros. And he's P1 for the pros for this season as well. Champion of the pro class.
Yeah, nice
is Ricardo
run.
Delgado. Up towards the line now for Jed Cotterman as well, who will come home and secure the GT3 Amateur Championship for this season. Michael Caffrey, by the way, has crossed the line and will win the Pro-Am classification this season. I do believe he has crossed the line. No, he hasn't.
No,
I think
yet.
has he run out of fuel?
No.
Caffrey's run out of fuel.
Oh, my God.
He's out of fuel. And he's out of fuel in the back straight. So he's going to drop position here to tie back start.
And
he's going to stream past him.
Walsh is already out of the race, right?
Walsh is already out of the race. So P7 is the worst he can finish now in this race.
I don't think it's enough.
P7 is worth 108 points.
Yeah, and Halliday is going to finish P5 in class.
Yes.
Is that more than
and
9
P5,
points? That is more than 9 points.
Yeah, it is.
So
I think he's still in it.
Technically, it's still alive, huh?
It is. No, it's really weird because P1's worth
John
150,
Voight
P2
getting
141.
the amateur win there as we were trying to calculate that out. Congratulations to Voigt.
This is really weird now, Jim, because I'm trying to figure this out because the differential between positions is actually quite odd. And it's quite off, I must say. Because it's saying 150 for a race win, 141 for P2, 130 for P3. That's a very, very weird differential. So we might have to ask Jim. Oh, not Jim. We might have to ask Jed.
I have no clue, just so you know. So
yeah,
let's see what we got here. We got Jed Cotterman with a slowdown unserved.
Yes, but he'll still win. He'll still win his class because of the points, because of the differential.
No, yeah, no, I didn't mean that. I just meant, time differential. Then Arroyo, who did not serve the black flag, so he's fixing to take a 40-second hit. That's going to drop him down, which is also going to move Harrison Holiday up a spot.
Yeah, it's very, very odd.
Okay, so let's do this. I think everybody's done now. Let's clear all this off the screen. Let's run through the race results by class, and then we will start putting all this together. So let's get this off the screen. You ready?
Ready as we look for our race results here for Daytona here this evening, and we get ready. So John Voigt wins for the GT4 class here this evening. It's Tim Schaefer, Chris Grondin in P3, Oliver Brooks, Aiden Kiley, and Cole Malley not finishing this race, but he's already won his championship this season too. The GT3 amateur class tonight, Jed Cotterman locks out his championship in P1 ahead of Jamie MacArthur and John Swan. For the top three, Mark Ogier, Jacob Cotterman, James Lenevan, David Vulpart, Chet Miller, Brandon Herzing, James Gilpin at the back end of the amateur field. To the GT3 Pro-Ams tonight, Kurt Basler winning overall on the road as he beats Scott Mowry and Lance Campbell within his class. Harrison Holiday, Ty Baxter, Lorenzo Araujo to Michael Caffrey, Justin Welsh, and Zach Houston. So Holiday, Jim, actually got P4.
Yeah, that's what I said because of Arroyo's black flag. He got an extra spot.
So that there is going to keep that title race alive going into next week, but it's going to be a tough hill to climb for Holiday. He's going to need Caffrey to not even. He needs way too. He needs
an
way more
internet failure from Caffrey. Hey,
not even then.
One of those dingoes. One of those dingoes could eat the cable. We've talked about that in the past.
He could. To the pro class here tonight as well. Ricardo Delgado locks out the Pro Championship as he finishes P1 on the road for that class, P2 overall. Nathan Biggett, Justin Bock, Justin Cornett, Luis Ortiz, Scott Petrone, and Ellison Flagino at the back end of the field. 19
so
laps
I would
down.
argue that we'll pull our winners in, and if any of the champions show up and they didn't win their class, we'll bring them in. But I say for the most part, we'll save and celebrate the champions.
Well,
next week,
really, two of the champions, Jim, won their class.
Well, that's true, I guess. Okay. Well,
Um,
we'll touch
Jamie
on that, but
McArthur's gone in
we'll
there,
save that
but
for next week too to really celebrate them in a
well,
proper way.
MacArthur's gone into the interview room and Jed Cotterman's run away. I don't know where he's gone.
Oh,
So we don't actually have our AM winner tonight in there.
well, he's a bum.
Interestingly
He's a
enough.
bum anyway. So
Well, we're dragging our GT4 race winner for the evening here tonight in John Voigt. John, welcome in. Congratulations. P1 on the road of the GT4 class. Now, these last two races are showcase races for the GT4s ultimately, but you've gotten yourself a great race win here at Daytona. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys.
man, I can't hear him at all.
Yeah, we got to turn him up.
See if you can turn yourself up a little bit.
No, this is the best I got
All right.
because the VR mic in the last
Hold on.
2 updates is egregious.
I'll turn you up then. Hold on. All right. So
200% is nice and loud,
there
Jim.
we go. All right. Yeah, we should be good there. Go ahead.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's a little bit better.
Yep. So, go ahead, Hamish. Well, I'm going to pull up a highlight here.
So, obviously, John, I mean, these last two races are showcase races now for the GT4 class with that title done and dusted by Cole. A win tonight, though, at Daytona for yourself. How was it out there for you, especially with some of the traffic management of the GT3 cars?
No, for my race, it definitely felt great. I was playing with some of my brake settings before the race, I think the other day, and it definitely made a difference today on the GT4s especially. I got a little bit of practice. I actually set some pretty competitive times. I do not know what happened to Cole. It was quite unfortunate, but I would have loved to have the opportunity to try to race him on this track because I think that tonight I had some of the pace to compete, and it just did not play out like that, unfortunately.
Well, to be honest, Cole was in a pickle tonight, so he had his pickle outfit on, and I think he retired. But so that's really bad joke. But anyway, because nobody got to see him, but he did have a pickle costume on tonight. So I've got a question for you that's completely off the topic of anything race related. I'm sure you're well aware that over the course of the season, especially in the Bite Point League, you have caught some flack over that cable that hangs down in front of your face.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I've seen the broadcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, so you haven't been watching the broadcast? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I have been. No, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's earbuds. So, I mean, I don't know if you have
the white cable
my,
in the front
webcam
is an
up.
earbud?
Yep. So it's a USB-C output. It goes so I can hear you guys. And right now it's my microphone because the Pimax headset, for some reason, you guys would not want to talk to me right now if I was using it. It sounds awful. They did something to the update for something like that.
Well, yeah. Well, we were giving you some flack over the at least Tristan was giving you some flack over the cable hanging down in the front, which is, it's quite funny. I mean, it's always fun to watch someone race in VR to start with. We've got a guy in another league I do on Sundays here on the channel who races in full VR and has a full motion rig, and it's jacked up on a platform. And you ought to see this thing go, man. It is quite the quite the rig, to say the least.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
But anyway, yeah, congratulations, man. You've had a good season. It's just been, grossly overshadowed by Cole's dominance this year, which, to be fair, the same thing happened to him for several seasons when Lance was in there. So, but what are your plans? Obviously, we got next week, but what are your plans for next season as far as you going to stay down here in GT4s and try to win you a championship, or are you going to try to move up, or what are you thinking?
That's a great question. So it definitely will depend on how the second class is decided. I know there's been a poll to determine what the other class is going to be because the numbers right now are a little disappointing. I know it does not make the broadcasting as fun for the GT4 class when there's not enough drivers to make it entertaining. I definitely am feeling a little bit of what Cole is with the ability to have someone to compete racing side by side. I mean, I was going at it with Timothy for a while before that unfortunate bus stop wreck that I watched the replay on. But I would love to be in GT3, being able to compete. I think in this field, I definitely won't be top 5, but being able to work my way up there, be able to compete with some of the fast guys in here, that'd be an absolute blast.
Well, that's good. I mean, and if that's, Hamish has some ideas what he would like to see as the additional class, but I don't know that we get signups for that either. But he's voiced it obviously on several broadcasts now that he'd like to see the legacy cars run as the instead of the GT4s, the old legacy GT3 cars. The $3 cars.
I would like to. Yep, and I think one of the other ones might have been thrown as GTE, and so Hamish, I know when you asked me a few weeks ago, I'll retract my statement. I would actually be interested in driving those cars. I did a demo, one of the recent updates, absolute blast.
Which one? What did you drive?
I drive all of them. I picked up the Ferrari. I've had an absolute blast with it.
The 488 Ferrari?
Yeah, because I'm not a fan of the 296. 488 was very fun.
Yeah. GTE would be cool too. I'm a huge GTE fan. That would be. We haven't talked about that, but I'd be a big fan of that myself. But congratulations again on your win tonight, man. And I'm looking forward to. You're always fun, and it's always good to have you here with the camera and with the VR goggles and everything. So. But congratulations on your win tonight, and and we'll see what happens moving forward. You got anybody you want to shout out to before we let you go?
I'll give a shout out to Cole. I know definitely he is the inspiration for me to keep getting faster, and especially some of the other guys in chat just keeping me level-headed, as I know some of the unfortunate wrecks I find myself in is just, want to pack it up and go to the next race, but just consistently putting the practice in, keep pushing myself. Aiden Kiley as well, the guys that we have, and especially the GT4 guys. It's just a great community that we got going here.
Indeed, and if it doesn't end up being GT4, I hope all of you guys stay and find a new place, wherever it is, whether it be the whatever that class ends up being, or if it's just all GT3s, if that's what it ends up being, whatever it ends up. I don't want to see you guys move on. I want to see you stay around for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to just see what happens.
Yep. All right, buddy. Good to talk to you again. And again, congratulations. And hopefully we'll get to holler at you next week as well.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
John Voight here tonight takes the race winner course for the GT4 class here this evening. We'll move on now to our GT3 AM second place finisher on the evening, Jamie MacArthur, as Jed Cotterman has run away from us and decided not to come and have a chat. Welcome in, Jamie. P2 on the road for the AM class here this evening. P5 overall, though. How does it feel to get that one completed on the evening, and a solid performance to boot?
Am I in the interview room?
Yes, you are.
You are indeed.
I'm sorry. Nice. No, it was a good race. It was a little touch and go at the start, but once I got into the groove, everything seemed to fall into place. I just wish I could have put tires. I should have put tires on. I didn't realize how long the fuel up was. Probably could have a little bit faster, maybe caught Jed. I don't know, but the car felt pretty good all race.
Well, I mean, you drove pretty exceptionally in that Porsche. You've been battling and putting the pressure on the likes of Bigot and Bock when they were trying to come past you as well. Did this fill you with a little bit of confidence going into next week at Sebring that maybe you can run up and amongst the top 10 and maybe even challenge for a top 5 finish once again?
Absolutely. I love Sebring. And then after the 12 hours, we're running that this weekend. So we should have a pretty good chance of hopefully back talking to you guys.
We'll see if that's the case once again. Have you been finding the Porsche though? Obviously, I mean that tonight it seemed to have, you tamed it pretty well. It was a pretty good night for Porsche. Obviously, P1 overall for Bazza in that Porsche. Yourself in the top 5, even Cornette inside the top 10 as well. A good night for the Porsche, but some other drivers out there struggled in this car as well. How did you find it though across the whole night?
It felt pretty balanced. I play with my brake bias quite a bit. So when it gets, I just find putting more to the front and just just changing that. If you don't change that with the Porsche, especially on a fixed setup, uh, yeah, you just kind of fall behind. That's what I helps me keep the car alive throughout the whole race.
Well, we appreciate you coming over chat to us, Jamie, and a massive achievement for yourself to get this top 5 finish and a P2 in your classification as well. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to before we let you go this evening?
Absolutely. I like to thank Jed for letting me come in and have an interview with you guys, and you guys as well, doing what you do. Um, and just Jed running the whole series. It's a awesome series, and I can't wait to do the full season or the next season. So, anyways, thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you in a week.
Appreciate your time, Jamie. Congratulations and best of luck at Sebring next week. We'll see if you can take home maybe P1 in the amateur class next time out as well. Jamie MacArthur, P2 in the GT3 AM class tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Pull Ricardo in because he ends up usually having to run.
Yeah, it's true. Ricardo Delgado, welcome in. Pro classification winner here tonight. P2 overall as well. And Season 4 of FTN Ultimate GT Championship Pro Champion as well, Ricardo. Congratulations. You are the champion this season. You get to go into Sebring next week with absolutely no pressure whatsoever. And you won the title tonight on lap 1 when you completed that lap and you got points, at least for last place. Well, you got P1 points in the end and you locked out this title now for yourself. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Now, Ricardo, obviously this season's been up and down for some drivers. You've been ultimately very consistent. A couple of rounds obviously didn't go your way because of contact with other drivers out there. But how was the season as a whole for you across these last sort of 11 weeks and how everything's been going for you in preparing yourself week in and week out to get you to this championship now?
It was a good championship, just long championships like this one is just everything is about consistency and staying surviving those races so you get maximum points in the place that you can actually finish.
Well said.
Now, you obviously you had some heated battles on track this season with some drivers out there, but you've managed to come out on top and in an ultimate fashion as well, obviously winning your classification. I didn't get the overall win. Was there anything more you could have done to try and get past Kurt in those final few laps to maybe get yourself the overall win tonight as well?
Oh no, Porsche and Daytona is the perfect combination. There is no way on the draft that even if I could get him on the infield, which I was a little bit faster, I think once we will get to the banking, he will just run by me because last lap I was 0.2 behind him and I did not gain even a tenth
That's
on
true.
the draft. So
Yeah.
as Porsche on the draft is way faster than the vet, he will got me if I was past him.
Now, no pressure next week at Sebring, obviously. Title's already won. Are we going to see you maybe pulling off, maybe attempting a bit more of a challenging race for yourself, maybe starting from the back of the GT3 field, seeing how high up you can get next week at Sebring?
I do that on Tuesdays, leagues, so I don't know.
Probably not, huh?
I do that on Porsche Cup on Tuesday. GT3s with Multiclass, it's not going to be that easy.
It's not going to be that easy, but you got 90 minutes to do so. I mean,
That's true. It is
not
90
out of the
minutes at
realm.
Sebring next week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's 90 minutes. Oh, I mean, we'll see. I won't push that hard then on quali.
Yeah. Well, Ricardo, congratulations on your championship. I really appreciate you coming and have a chat to us as well. Are you able just to give a quick rundown of your season, your championship, and your race as well in Spanish for us too before we let you go?
Sure. Tuvimos un campeonato bastante consistente. Solamente tuvimos incidentes en 2 carreras graves que no terminamos en el podio. Pero overall fuimos bastante consistentes y cerramos el campeonato faltando una carrera hoy. So that's it.
Well, Ricardo, the floor is yours to give thanks to. The floor is yours to give thanks to whoever you wish. As the champion, the red carpet treatment for you. Whoever you want to give a shout out to or anything else, you're more than welcome to right now as well.
Sure. I always thank Sim Racing PR, which is our league here on Puerto Rico. We're just preparing for the Sebring 12, so we'll see how it goes. And shout out to my store, everyone that sees my car. We have our paints. If you follow us on iRacing, you can check my trading paints. We got paints for GT3 cars that we use here. So you're more than welcome to use them.
Well, thank you so much for coming over to chat to us, Ricardo. Congratulations on your championship win. Best of luck next week at Sebring. We'll see where you end up, where the pressure's off and you're able to go full throttle to the very end of the checkered flag at the 90 minutes of Sebring. Well done. Congratulations. And thank you so much for coming over to chat to us. Ricardo Delgado, pro winner here tonight and pro championship winner as well. Finally, Jim, he's finally come back to have a chat to us. It is our GT3 AM champion this season and GT3 AM winner tonight as well. He'll be running that red banner on his car next season. It is Jed Cotterman. Jed, welcome in.
What's up, guys?
We saw that you ran away earlier on, and we're like, oh, he doesn't want to come and chat to us because he's won the championship now. But he's come back. He's coming to have a chat because we had a clarification question that we kind of worked out on our own of if the Pro-Am title was still alive. And it technically is because Holiday managed to get P4 in class thanks to a penalty for another driver. And that gave, and Caffrey running out of fuel dropped him back to P7. So that title race is alive, but it's very marginal. And if Harrison can win that because of the points differential. But nonetheless, we worked that out on our own. But you are the champion, Jed. You've won the AM class tonight. The ultimate victory over Jacob, who had what can only be described as a horrid night on the road here at Daytona. And it proved that he did no track acclimatization when he joined you for the 24, and you did all the track acclimatization when you're at the 24, learning this place, understanding it, eating a bit of the grass to know how it works. And you come away with a P3 overall, P1 in the AM class, and the championship to boot.
I honestly don't know how I did it. I had to save so much fuel. I mean, when I kept looking and I'm like, I was literally running a second slower than everybody else. I had to save that much fuel. I don't know if it's because I spent so much time in the draft behind Ricardo. The fuel calculator just wasn't accurate or whatever the case may be. But yeah, we came out and they pulled away and Dre was telling me, oh, this is now a 2-stop race. And I was like, oh, hell no, we're not doing this. So I got it down. I think I ran out of fuel just going into turn 1. And the rest is history. But Nathan kept he kept messing with me on the radio right before we'd get to the bus stop. Don't make a mistake, Jed. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. And the second to last lap, I did. I almost gave myself an off-track penalty, but I caught the curber just in time. But man, I gotta say, the drivers' meeting, like I just don't know why I even do them anymore. Sometimes, I mean, just listening to everyone make their comments and like just lap 1, turn 1, like, you know, I heard guys are like, why are we going 4 wide and why are we doing this and why are we doing that? And, you know, like I preach patience and, you know, racecraft and why are we fighting guys? And, you know, you got 2 pro guys that are racing, and then we got another guy who's in a completely different class fighting them like it's for position. Like I don't understand it.
Well, we would argue that next season it should be for position. You'll hear that when you watch the race back. Instead of, this is just a suggestion, to keep the points championships closer for longer into the year, instead of paying points in class, pay points to overall GT3 positions. Meaning, if you're an amateur and you finish first, or you finish third overall, you get third overall points, not first in class, because that way it doesn't make it so easy for a guy, because since there's only 8 cars in a class, a guy can finish 8th and he's still getting 8th place points. And that's not an actual reward of where he finished in the race, you know. And we could talk about it more off the air, but that was Hamish's idea, and I actually do think it's a good idea. I think it would tighten up the points championship some. But we can save that conversation for another time. We don't need to do it here. But
yeah, I think we may. I don't know if you saw the poll I created in the.
I did not. Well, we were told about it, but
Yeah, I think if we can't get enough people to do TCR, I think we may just go all GT3 and eliminate all this us versus them mentality and drama. It's not enjoyable. I mean, running this league is like another full-time job on top of the 16 a day that I'm already working, and it's wearing me out just having to big brother so many things, and I'm just like, guys, why is it so difficult to just show up and have a good time and accept the fact that there's always somebody faster? P3, dude, I am tickled pink with my P3 overall, knowing that I beat Biggert, honestly. Now, I don't know if he got dumped by Zach or what happened. I'll have to go back and watch it, but,
Well,
some
I
things
mean,
just happen.
he did come from 27th or so back after he had to pit. So,
yeah. I mean, I knew he was a beast.
but
I mean,
to be
the
fair,
Mustangs
he
and the
gained a lot of that by his pit strategy. Everybody pitted early. Y'all all had fuel when you pitted tonight, and he ran his down before he pitted, so he had all those laps up front with a light fuel load and was flying, and that ultimately brought him way back.
When I pit, I had a half a tank. I'm sorry, not half a tank. Jesus, half a gallon.
Oh, what lap did you pit on? 15.
I literally had.
Oh my
I had
God,
no
you're
choice.
like a
I
fuel
had to come
hog.
in. What do you want from me, man? Yeah, I had no choice. I literally had no choice. I pit with. It was either the 24 or 25-minute mark because I was just hoping I was going to be able to top off and get enough.
Wow.
But yeah,
That's
I'm
crazy.
just I'm learning how to fuel save a little more, and that's the only reason why I was able to keep my position. But how Nathan does it, he's on a completely another level.
That's a different level, man. That's
well, that's 1,800 versus 4,000 plus where he's at, but overall, I'll have to go back and watch the broadcast and see what happened with all the incidents that I
mean,
kept hearing about.
from our perspective tonight, I don't know that we saw a bunch of egregious BS. I mean, there's always going to be a little of that, but I thought it was good racing at Daytona, to be honest with you, and we had some fun stuff. I mean, there was there's some incidents, but some of them were racing incidents. I mean, I didn't look at this as a poor racecraft night by any means. So I think that
that's comforting. But
well, I think that just the fact that that you have to hear all of the negative stuff from the drivers who are mad, for whatever reason. I think that wears on you after a while too. We probably shouldn't do these interviews after the race, after you've had to hear all that. But
no, dude, it's good. And I tell you honestly, I have so many people write me and we're like, man, we didn't really know like what all goes on behind the scenes, and like guys write me about my interviews and what I say, and it's just I put so much like heart and soul into
Of
this,
course.
and I just want I want everybody to enjoy it. And it's like I said in the drivers meeting, guys, I'm only one of these 32 drivers, and I need your help. I cannot do this by myself.
Well, I mean, I would argue that it's very hard to please everyone, and no matter what, you put this many cars on track with competitive personalities and all of that, you're going to have your fair share of drama and BS. I think that's the nature of the game.
That's the nature of the sport, I guess.
But as far as eliminating the GT4 class, and not replacing it, that would be an interesting choice. Of course, there was Hamas' suggestion about going out there and running some of the legacy GT3 cars as a class. And then also apparently
it did get brought up.
And then apparently the GTE has been brought up as well.
Not in the poll per se, but
No.
here's my thing, and I don't know how to say it any way other than this. There's just certain people I won't allow to run certain cars.
No,
I don't mean that
you should have
disrespectfully
to.
or whatever,
Right.
but I can't expect somebody who is borderline, getting black flags every race for incident points,
Right.
run an LMP3 or
a GTE with
Fab.
no ABS and no. No, I get it.
Correct.
I certainly get that, and then that's that's just another policing thing. Maybe with the popularity of GT3 overall, maybe that may just be the best, the best avenue. GT3 leagues obviously have huge success, and so, maybe ultimately if that's what the vote goes to, so be it. It'll still be great racing action, and we'll still have three classes.
Yeah. Well, I think we might have 4. I think I created a master class just for aliens. But if we go,
so you're still not going to be in the top class?
I didn't say that.
Oh my God! So we talked you into moving up to pro, Hamish, and the dude goes and creates a master class.
This is the most Jed Cotterman thing I've ever heard.
That
in
is
my life.
absolutely the most Jed Cotterman thing I have ever heard, right there.
I am in the top class. Thank you very much.
He's in Jed class.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You guys said I needed to be a pro. I went.
Yes, you sure did. Yeah, and then you went and created a master class to move everybody up a class. That's great. Yeah, that's wonderful. If you do that, I'm quitting.
Oh, come on now. No, again, like.
Look, I would say this is my only advice, and we'll let it go. We're just BSing and spending your dollars at this point, or mine, depending on how we look at that.
It all comes out in one way or another.
My except for Hamish's, that comes out of mine. But my argument would be sometimes simpler is better. 4 classes all in GT3 is a bit much, I think. Honestly, just stick with the 3 if that's the direction that it goes. You don't need 4 classes, man. Okay. I think 3's plenty, and if it stays just GT3, I don't know how I feel about getting rid of the GT4s or not. I think I'm on both sides of the fence regarding that. I can see I can see both sides of it.
Multi-class league, but like I said.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna have 6 cars, what's the point?
There you go.
There's no point in having 6 cars out there running around. That's not a real race anyway. It's just going to be somebody's going to end up being like the alien, like Cole was this season, and it's going to be the same thing all over again.
Don't let that guy fool you too. We raced together in another league on Saturday nights, and he has beat me every single week.
Oh, I know.
Cole has.
Oh, I know. He's humble, believe me, but he.
We said he should be a pro-am driver next season.
Yeah, we said
that's exactly where he's going.
Yeah,
that's exactly where he's going.
Yeah, I mean, pro-am is where he belongs. I argue that he's very similar to what Lance Campbell was coming out of the pro-am, coming out of the GT4 ranks. Same level of dominance. Lance had that kind of level of dominance as well. And he is a valid pro-am driver and could easily be moved into the pros as well with his speed, So, yeah, I mean, that's where he belongs. But again, I would love Hamish and I would love to have some input, as to what we think works regarding the broadcast. We certainly you're not obligated to that by any means, but we'd love to talk with you about that during the brief, decision-making period that there is between seasons. So, we'll.
Well, I mean, there's a group message between the 3 of us in the Discord. So, dude, I'm all ears at this
you
point.
bailed on it. You left us.
Did I?
Yes. Didn't he, Hamish?
No.
Yes.
You left one of them. I think there's
Yeah.
another one where we all still
Oh,
are
maybe.
in it, though.
But you bailed on one of them.
Oh, well,
That's all right. We know you
I'll
don't
make
want.
sure we have another
We
one.
know you don't
but-
want
but
our
honestly,
opinion. That's okay. We got.
No, come on, you know better. You know better. I do want to keep the multi-class aspect of it. You know, guys are begging me to do GTPs and LMP2s.
No. There's a
obviously-
place right now
we
that's
can't-
a sister
we
league.
can't do
that can-
this. I'm not
right.
and that was another thing too. I said no, I'm not doing that. I'm not duplicating another league that we're so close.
I mean,
with.
I could see GTE if you wanted to, but again, I would argue that GT4 and GT3 is better than GT3 and GTE would be, because the skill level it takes to drive a GTE car, it would have to be, you'd have to only require the aliens to go and drive those cars. You know, and even some of the aliens would struggle.
Be hand selected.
Yeah, and you know, and then that's just, you know, that's more work than it's worth, I think, in the long run. You know, so but anyway, let's get out of here, and we'll talk more about this before the new season starts.
Yeah.
Either way,
again,
a lot of good
I'm
racing,
ears, so.
a lot of good racing to come, and certainly, you know, moving on to bigger and better things for next season.
Absolutely, that's the plan.
All right, buddy. Congratulations again on your championship, as undeserving as it is, being that you were misclassed completely. But congratulations on dominating that. All right.
Well,
I'm done harassing
I thought
you
it'd
for
be
that.
closer. All right. Yeah, get out of here. Go home.
All right, man. Yep. Talk to you later. All right, Hamish. Say good night.
Good night, Hamish. But no, a massive thank you though to everyone who has joined us, obviously, this season and tonight as well. If you're joining us for the first time or you've been here for a little while, hit the like button, the subscribe, the bell icon too, so notified whenever we go racing. Right here on Motormouth Broadcasting. Coming up on your docket tomorrow, it is OCAS Racing Truck Series and MVRL
they're
Truck
done.
Series. No, that's right. They're off. They're done. Sorry.
They're done.
MVRL Truck Series tomorrow night. You can catch myself and Jim in the booth for that one. It's going to be a fun time when we go racing once again. A big shout out as well to our stream sponsors, of course, to the Roasted Record, who's come on board this year. Great support from those guys. You can go check them out in Florida, get yourself a brew and a tune in person, or you can order online. Use code SIM20 to get yourself a cheeky 20% discount as well. They'll ship pretty much anywhere to you, and you get some nice artisan coffee, get some music as well. You could pair both of them, get some coffee from one country and get music from the same country as well, and see how it goes for yourself. DRE Digital Race Engineer as well, and to Track Camps for Gourmets, they help get everything looking as pretty as ever for us here on the broadcast from Motormouth Broadcasting all across the board. We use wonderful cameras brought to us by Track Cams for Gourmets too. A shout out to everyone who's been watching with us all throughout this year, the beginning of this year, and throughout this season of Full Throttle Nation as well. We've got one round to go next week. Start half an hour earlier because it is a 90-minute race out at Sebring for the final round. Thank you all so much for joining us though here on Motormouth Broadcasting, where legends are created one corner at a time.